To survive the Thar Desert, you have to be as unforgiving as the landscape itself. That harshness bred a culture that carved its defenses directly into the rock. These massive cliffside fortresses in Marwar stand as physical monuments to centuries of brutal warfare and imperial clashes. But when you examine the dense Sanskrit texts that served as the official histories for the conquering empires, you'll find a massive blind spot. The name of one of their most defiant adversaries is completely absent. But an empty page doesn't mean a person didn't exist. It often just means their legacy bypassed paper entirely. To find him, you have to leave the imperial libraries behind and listen to the localized oral traditions of the village people. They tell a highly specific story. It revolves around an unfulfilled promise, a restless spirit, and a bizarre piece of collateral, a single hair from a warrior's mustache. The local belief is that the spirit of Balu Singh Champawat is still bound to this desert. He waits here until his debt is resolved. It forces you to ask, what kind of warrior inspires a myth this visceral? And what exactly did he do to force his people to immortalize him? Balu Singh belonged to the Champawat Rothor clan. They formed the elite martial backbone of Marwar, men whose identity revolved around warfare and unyielding pride. In their philosophy, a sword served a much deeper purpose than killing. Drawing a blade was the physical manifestation of a sacred binding vow to protect their homeland. You can see that reverence embedded right into their weaponry. The craftsmanship blends lethal utility with deep artistic devotion. For Balu Singh, honor was a tangible, non-negotiable currency. It held far more value than his own life. That strict code faced the ultimate test from the rapid expansion of the Mughal Empire, which was systematically bringing independent territories under its absolute control. This map shows the reality they faced, a continent-spanning military machine relentlessly closing in, isolating the smaller, localized pockets of Rajput strength. Inside the imperial court, local rulers faced immense political pressure. They were expected to bow, offer tribute, and accept a completely subservient role. Balu Singh refused. Faced with an ultimatum from an overwhelming force, he flatly rejected them, choosing certain death over the safety of silence. He knew he couldn't win a prolonged war. This was a deeply personal rejection of subjugation, a choice made specifically to protect the spiritual integrity of his clan. He didn't topple the empire. He rebelled, and ultimately his exact fate was obscured by the very enemies he defied. Empires rely on imperial historiography. If they fail to break a rebel, they extinguish his memory by scrubbing official texts. But that bureaucratic erasure failed against Balu Singh. The people of Marwar didn't need paper to remember him. He fought for faith rather than fame. He actively chose the lasting respect of his peers over the validation of imperial scribes. If you travel through modern Rajasthan today, you won't find his legacy sitting behind glass in a museum. It operates as a living, breathing oral tradition. His name is still sung in local ballads. His story is whispered in village courtyards and taught to the newest generation. And that brings us back to the legend of the mustache hair. That physical piece of folklore acts as an unbreakable anchor, tying his past defiance directly to the present day. Balu Singh Champawat may be an erased figure to global historians, but through sheer force of will, he remains the burning core of Marwar's cultural pride.